I got bread. You upset. Got the money. Yo, what a beautiful Saturday evening. My God, beautiful Saturday evening. Mm. Yo, road to 500 subscribers. Road to 500 subs. Ooh.
The thing with Saka and Rice, what I like so much about it, is they're taking the corners from both sides, and they score so many goals. From corners, it's unbelievable. So it's the how close they are in terms of goals and assists. I guess the only big difference here really is price point. Yeah, absolutely. And I still think Rice is very, really valued at 7.3. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Is that for the price difference, nearly 3 million, you get extra
Mbukela Elon.
you get extra bonus points with Rice.
Mbukela
And just
sports
saving money that you
highlights.
can invest elsewhere. And so for me, this was a very big conversation on wildcard. Do I stick with Saka, who I've had? But Rice, it does seem to be weirdly Rice's side that corners go in from. And it's been hurting not having him on my team. So I've decided to swap them and have Rice instead, which essentially means all the goals are going to come from Saka's side. Although he's been returning, and we can't complain about that, maybe we've not had the explosive returns, which is maybe why people are going towards Declan Rice. But the underlying numbers for Saka have still been good. Yeah, because weirdly, we feel the opposite about Declan Rice, because the underlying numbers are similar, but because he's so much cheaper, we're like, oh, you're well worth it. But when you look at Saka, you're like, oh, because I've got to spend over 10 million on you, I'm expecting a lot more. So despite the fact that actually we got better numbers for Saka, because he's expensive, you treat them differently. You expect your premium assets to deliver premium points every single week, and when they don't, that puts them up for negotiation. And it's especially telling when you look at the defence and you're looking at the likes of Gabriel and Timber, who regularly pick up those additional points, obviously for significantly less because they're defenders. So there's a whole, I mean, you could happily have 4 or 5 Arsenal players in your team right now, but you can't, so you've got to make some tough calls. When we spend kind of a premium price point, so over kind of 8, 9, 10 million, then we don't just want one return, do we? We want multiple. We obviously want double-digit returns, and maybe that's another reason that Bukayo Saka has been frustrating. Because look at that, he's actually only got 2 this season. Declan Rice has got double the number of double-digit hauls. Yeah, and when you pay that much money for a player, you want to be able to captain them, or you want to have them as an option to captain against Haaland. When Haaland's got a different fixture, you want to look at other players, and that's when you look at your premium assets. And the thing is, Saka hasn't really delivered, and this goes back to when he came back from the injury, in the middle of last season. As well, he didn't really deliver from there. I know I picked him up on a wild card. A lot of people triple captained him, and he didn't deliver. So it's become a bit of a theme. And also now they've got Madueke there as well. So if Saka isn't performing in a game, they've got options to bring other players off the bench. So he's not as crucial maybe as the Arsenal side as maybe has been in previous years. I still think he's a very, very good option, but the fact there's this emergence of Rice now, I think does mean you could consider going that. And it means maybe if you put your money elsewhere in your team, you can still have Arsenal midfield cover by having Declan Rice. So the fixtures are up on the screen there, Sam. What do you make of those? Or are Arsenal that good that you don't worry quite as much about them? Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there is an element of that, isn't there? I mean, there's some great fixtures in there as well. Nottingham Forest up there, because that's a fantastic fixture for them. Manchester United defensively, they haven't exactly been setting the world on fire there, so we'd expect something out of them. And actually, actually, when you look at the fixtures that come in, probably Sunderland is weirdly the hardest defence that they're going to have to face in all of those. So from an attack perspective, I don't think it would be a bad idea to have both Rice and Saka. It just depends on how you want to play your midfield. Okay, it does feel like we're spending a lot of time talking about midfielders at the moment, so let's continue the chat. And two more midfielders now for you. And these are two, I think it's safe to say, the biggest surprises of the season in a good way. Harry Wilson and Bruno Guimaraes. First question, Sam, have you finally got Harry Wilson on your wild card? No. Oh my goodness me. They've been brilliant, haven't they, both of these players?
They are unbelievable players, and someone like Bruno Guimaraes, we've seen in previous years. We know how the only question mark has been, can he actually start making goals in the six a viable FPL asset? And he's doing that. He's getting the depth gone. He's scoring goals for fun. The thing is, his stats. He's one of those players. If you like the stats, he doesn't show up particularly well on those, but he gets the returns. So he's a heart over head player. But Wilson is unbelievable. He's got the stats. You watch him play. He's a key man for them. I absolutely love watching both of them play. Such a big.
So I'm going to try and make it a little bit worse by having on your wild card now and take a look at their form over the last 10 game weeks, because look at that, Phil Foden's only ahead of Harry Wilson and Bruno Guimaraes. They're banging form at the moment. They are both of them, and if I could pick 7 midfielders on wild card, these two would 100% be in it. But I honestly think that there's so many midfielder options, which is why we're chatting about it so much, that it is difficult. Bruno Guimaraes, the difference in home and away form is marked, and that for me is one of the things that has made me kind of go, well, maybe I can just not go there, because home is brilliant, away not so much. Plus the penalty last time, I kind of feel that was a bit jammy because he didn't normally take them, so maybe excuse the data. Wilson, on the other hand, is just phenomenal. He's just unbelievable and made such a difference in the FA Cup when he came on as well. So he is the one that I really want, and I just can't quite work out how to get him. The home and away form with Newcastle in general is quite staggering, but particularly with Guimaraes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's happened for years and years. We trust Newcastle at home. We tend to not trust them so much away from home. They've got injury. They're an unpredictable team in general. I mean, look at that Leeds game. I don't think too many people were expecting so many goals to happen in that match. But I do think with Guimaraes that you can play him in any match, and you can always borrow something. I mean, he scored from a corner a few weeks ago. So when you've got players that are capable of doing that, they can score anything.
Those fixtures as well, obviously Wolves this weekend, then it does get a little bit trickier though, doesn't it? So maybe that's something that's played into the decision making and more with others. Yeah, I mean the Wolves game I would like to have him for, but it's an away fixture and he's not been so great. And Wolves have improved a lot over the last couple of weeks. But following on from that, those fixtures are tough, and I just wonder whether there was an opportunity to go against him in those weeks. But maybe it pays off with the players you get instead. We spoke about it when we were kind of analysing Saka and Rice's performance, and we said that Saka's underlying fixtures are good. If we take a look at the underlying numbers, I think I said fixtures, I meant facts, stats, data. Can't get my words out this morning. This is the highest XG difference of midfielders. It doesn't include penalties. This shows potentially there's quite a big difference there. Does this show that maybe it's not sustainable?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what XG was from that corner. She scored it, but I can't imagine it was particularly high. Yeah, I mean, I do look at these stats. I do think these stats are important. If someone like Semenyo has a lot of shots, so it's kind of okay. He's having made the shots from range, but at least he's having the shots, whereas Bruno has far fewer. So those shots are going in, which is great. But what happens if those stop going in, and he's not getting the opportunities, and he becomes less of a good option. So he's looking at these stats with the caveat of a lot of other factors. And I do really like Bruno as a factor, but with the fixtures as well, maybe he can get less attractive. But you can keep him if you had him.
I was going to say, keep him if you had him.
Yeah.
Probably don't buy it.
That's how I see it.
What about Harry Wilson?
Harry Wilson at 5'9", I think is a buy. I think that the fixtures again are a bit mixed, but I think he's on set pieces. I think he can keep on and carry on doing really well.
What's your justification for not having Harry Wilson?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
Well, I'll show you my midfield in a minute, but it's really difficult to know because there's a player that I feel like punting on for the fixtures that have coming up, and that's the Harry Wilson slot. So it's difficult. I might still change it. I'm in a hurry. Okay, well, rather than keep on hammering your wild card, I'm sure it's very good. Let's actually check it out now as part of our team reveals, because we've talked a lot about this, and we're quite sad here. We get very excited when someone's on a wild card on the show. Sam, talk us through this and how you come to this team, like the process and how you're confident with it. So I think first of all I started with Arsenal and Chelsea because they felt like the teams that I wanted to be invested in right away, and working out the Arsenal structure was important for the rest of the midfield. So in the end, I've gone back to the double Arsenal defence. with the two best defenders in the game, I think, in Timber and Gabriel, and then I've gone for Declan Rice over Saka. Now that freed up a lot of money, which meant for a lot of the wildcard week I've had Cole Palmer, but missing midweek with the thigh injury, the comments from the new manager about, they need to be careful, they need to treat him well. The amount of fixtures that Chelsea have coming up means I've swapped him for Enzo. Semenyo came in on the back of the performances we saw in the 2 cup matches because he came in and just looked like he'd always been a Man City player. It was just unreal. Wirtz, I wanted to keep for the next 2 because it's Burnley, and I just feel like he's starting to find the form that we were all expecting at the beginning of the season, and that just meant the midfield was struggling. So Harry Wilson, the Enzo slot's Harry Wilson's effectively. I still don't think I'm 100% locked on this. I think I probably won't end up with Thiago, and I think I'll end up with Dominic Calvert-Lewin instead. It saves an extra million and means that I can potentially, rather than going from Wirtz to Bruno in 2024, which is what I was anticipating doing, if Wirtz has kicked on, I could go from Rodgers or Semenyo instead, which maybe is a nicer sell point if Wirtz is playing well. What do you make of that, Timas?
Yeah, I really like it. There's lots of players there who've got really good upcoming fixtures. I think going back to Semenyo, and a lot of people sold him is really good. Obviously, double arse defence, one of the top defence in the league. There's nothing not to like about it. It's a very solid team. So thank you so much.
How set do you think you are with it? Thiago, Calvert-Lewin, Enzo, Harry Wilson. Otherwise, I think I'm there. Wow, that's quite a nice feeling being that way. Already on a Friday. Let's take a look at your team, Az. I'm very sorry, but we've got the boring graphic for you because you're welcome.
Oh,
we're not going to
look at that. Yeah.
What a difference.
I know, that sums it up.
But the problem is we have to see your face while we do it. Yeah, talk us through this. So have you made any transfers yet?
No transfers yet, no. I'm going to be taking Cunha out. I think if I had the money, I probably would just go straight to Fernandes, but I don't. So it's going to be Cunha down to Rice, who I want. I think Rice is going to hit 200 points this season. I don't think there's any real concerns about that with all different routes to points. I think he becomes a bit of a must going forward. That leaves me open to do Foden to Fernandes in 24. But, I look at Sam's wildcard. I think it looks really good. I look at this team, and I think it looks like we'll be okay. So as much as I want some of your players, like Enzo and Rodgers and those type, I'm not too worried about battling against with this team.
I love that he's already thinking about specifically battling against you. It also depends a bit where your team is. We know we got these new chips at the start of January, and your husband sat on the show and says, way too early to wildcard. Then I found out a week later you'd wildcard, but it just depends where your team is at, doesn't it? And you're chasing rank. Absolutely. I think if you are happy with your team, like Az is, and you look at it and you think, well, I've got roots to these players that I want to get, then it's absolutely too early to hit the wildcard. If you look at your team and you think, goodness me, I hate most of them, and I want to change up everything, then it's not too early to hit the button. I think it's too early for triple captains and bench boosts and free hits because you're going to want them for the blanks and doubles that come later. The wild card, if you need it now, then it's fine to go now. Yeah, it's so heavily team dependent, isn't it? When people go to me, should I wild card? I don't know. It's a good team. Okay, then finally, it is captaincy time, and obviously we've got to start with Erling Haaland. Only 1 goal in his last 4, but his record against Manchester United makes you think maybe that drought could end, Sam. I was really tempted by Florian Wirtz this week, and then I saw these stats and was like, 6 games, 8 goals, 3 assists against Manchester United in a derby. They'll want to ruin Carrick's first game in charge, won't they? I just think I might just leave it with Haaland, but I definitely think there are other options this week if you don't want to go with the big Norwegian. Would you be tempted to look elsewhere? For me, it just feels so Erling Haaland to have not scored for a few games, then against Man United to be like, oh, here you go, he's a hat-trick. Yeah, maybe that's wishful thinking.
He feeds off the crowd, doesn't he? Now, Old Trafford's going to be going crazy, and he's going to be absolutely loving that. So he's a very difficult player to go against. I do think Liverpool, though, if you're going to go for another team, another player, Ekitike or Wirtz is the way to go. Burnley are the worst team in the league defensively by a country mile. They did well at Turf Moor against Liverpool. I think it was a last-minute goal. A penalty maybe for Liverpool in that game, but if Liverpool can score early, I imagine that they will look to score 3 or 4 goals in that game. And Ekitike is in my team. It's so good to see him back from injury. I think he's a wonderful player. Got the goal and the assist in that FA Cup game. So I'm hoping more of
that. It's been a bit of a rollercoaster, hasn't it? Because of course, with his injury, people started to sell him, and then he scored in the cup. And actually, like yourself, I'm quite grateful to own him at the moment. But I probably won't captain.
I'm really happy to own him. The worry is he comes off at 70 minutes, and doesn't get anything. But I'm probably going to keep him on.
What about Wirtz instead, like Sam?
Yeah, I like Wirtz. If he gets something, he's going to get the bonus as well. And if you've got him, you've got to consider him. But I'd still go and get him.
Are you seriously considering? I'm seriously, but I think I'm going to go high. So it's not that serious, really. It's hard, isn't it, when you've got Erling Haaland there? Thank you very much for coming in, Sam. Best of luck sorting out that wildcard. A reminder to you guys at home, the deadline is on Saturday at 11 a.m. UK time. That is 90 minutes for the Manchester Derby. Have a brilliant game week. We'll see you back here same time, same place next week. Good luck, guys. See you then. Battery dead.
Oh, it's something. Oh, it's something.
You want football that's absolutely unpredictable. Football with no respect for ranking, league, or history.
For the first time in their history, they were
Then you want the FA Cup. It's knockout football. Starting this January. It's on SuperSport. Proudly brought to you by Sporting Bet. Betting amplified.
Everybody around me go eat. Everybody around me go eat.
You get the new Streetwise Feast with 2 free small no sugar treats.
Earn up to 7.35% interest and keep your money agile with the Netbank Just Invest account. Pay no monthly fees or commission. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app. Get money fit with Netbank.
no gentle reintroduction for Michael Carrick at Old Trafford, pitched straight into a Manchester derby. All change at Chelsea too, with Liam Rosenior's first top-flight match against the boss who's defied the doubters to put Brentford in the top 5. While at Spurs, the Bees' former leader is already under pressure. Relegation threatened West Ham knows the feeling. Just some of Saturday's enticing fixtures, which conclude with Arsenal's trip to Nottingham Forest. Aston Villa aim to keep up the title chase against Everton on Sunday, before Monday's trip to the seaside rounds things off. With everything they hit, ends up in the back of the net.
Manchester United, for the third time in 4 years, are the champions of the Premier League.
Beckham! That's absolutely brilliant. He goal. He get another one. Manchester United are taking the Premiership once again.
And let's hope they'll be with us for many years to come. You deserve all.
Manchester United destroyed, lacerated by Liverpool. This will do his course no good at all. Okay, Gundogan, seconds it. Surely now the city is blue again.
This is football. Very simple. This is an operation.
Ah, butuan.
It's going to be like this for 18 months or when they
Nihat lang sel.
decide to do.
Namang
Skål.
Konil. Namang. Imalak.
It's an unbelievable feeling to come back through.
Super.
Really, and then be part of
Obviously, it's now out of the 70s it was a manager, but it's very important
Ngisho sethi moto le.
for the teammates to
Yeah.
stick together in these kind of cases to really see that
Man, ave.
no matter what situation.
Ngasho ngihamba emgwaqeni ute la straight la endlini.
I don't think it's the formation. I think tactically it will change stuff. Can we get forward quicker? Attack in certain areas quicker? When it comes to a derby, anything can happen. You know, you can play well for that certain game and win the